Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my game breakdown. If you're curious what this is about, the name is pretty self-explanatory, but I want to dissect a few interesting games. I plan on running you all through the story and pointing out things that I like or find interesting. I honestly just want to have fun here, so let's start off with a game that I knew nothing about before playing it. Murdered Soul Suspect. The only reason I even checked this out was because Xbox gave it away for free through their games with gold bonus, and boy am I glad they did. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So what's this game about? Well, it throws us right in the middle of things here with a montage about a dangerous killer who's apparently still on the loose. And then this.
Grow up on the streets. You start thinking you're invincible. Nothing can touch you. You never really lose. Go to arrest some freak, find out you aren't as invincible as you thought.
Well, that was dramatic. This is Ronan. We're about to find out by seeing his life flash before his eyes.
That kid stole my wallet!
Time to make it official.
It hurts!
Now, I don't have a problem with tattoos, and if you want to represent every major moment in your life with a new one, go right ahead. But I will say, I don't like bad tattoos, and by golly, Ronan, you got some doozies there. Anyways, the gist seems to be that he's definitely the rambunctious type who sadly lost his wife and then decided to go hunting down killers with a personal death wish. It looks like he got it too, what with falling like he did. Oh, wait.
How the hell did I survive that?
Even he's surprised.
Stay where you are, dirtbag. I'm coming back up.
Well, moving on then, I got doors to open.
Moving, it's stuck.
Hey!
Watch it, lady.
Oh, snap.
No.
I guess he really did die. But oh look, he's still got a chance.
I'm still alive. If I just get back in my body, then maybe I'll wake up.
Just needs to get back in the same position. Maybe not.
Come on. Someone had to hear that glass shatter.
Uh-oh.
No. Come on. Get back! Get back here!
Well, shit. That was awesome. Obviously not for Ronan, but that intro was crazy. The idea that now I get to play as a ghost plus solve my own murder is what got me hooked on this game in the first place, and kept me going to the end. This concept may have been done before, I'm not sure, but it's my first experience with it, and I think the developer handled it very well. Anyways, after having a chit chat with the old wife and checking out my body again, I go have a conversation with a little dead girl down an alleyway. This might seem nonsensical, but it actually turns out to be a good move for Ronan, because she gives him the lay of the land, as it were.
Figure out your gifts, and maybe you won't get trapped here.
Turns out that being a ghost has its perks after all. Now that Ronan's spirit is unhampered by a fleshy container, he can go most anywhere and through most anything. I say most anything because apparently ghosts cannot pass through a place that someone living has called either sacred or a home. The only way inside these places is to wait for a door to be opened up and slide in.
10-4.
What the hell was that? Also, Ronan apparently can't pass through ghostly objects, as in anything completely blue that's in his dimension. Although he can reveal certain objects to either find something or move it out of the way. I will say that even though I get annoyed working out how to get around some of these structures, I love the way in which these ghostly monuments and buildings blend in with the original town. It totally adds depth to the world, giving an obvious history and a pretty creepy vibe in some places. That might be because this is the town of Salem, Massachusetts. Yep, that place that hung and killed all those people, starting in 1692, for supposedly being witches. I guess it comes into play now and then through the game, so I'll totally mention it later. Ronan can also possess people and animals too, with the ability to fully control the latter, and the game utilizes this in a few key places. Anyway, back to the story. I return to the street where I fell and get introduced to a few colorful characters. This guy Baxter is a real asshole.
Backup. Who needs backup?
Rex seems pretty cool though. So, right after that, we get thrown into some evidence collecting. I've played games like this before, where you have to comb the environment to find clues in order to progress. It's fine. Not always my favorite style of gameplay, but when it works and the story is decent, I can enjoy myself. The way it works here is interesting. You see, being a ghost, Ronan has a few different ways to obtain clues. There's the obvious way, that is, just looking at something. However, you can also possess people in order to view things, eavesdrop on them, read their minds, or influence their memory to reveal new information.
Yeah, I saw it. That man in the hood. Outside. Looking up at the top apartment on the 4th floor, I think.
It almost always culminates with putting the 3 or so main pieces of meaningful evidence together in order to reach a conclusion that leads to further questions.
I don't get it. What was he even doing here?
It is satisfying though, especially because I don't find this game particularly difficult. So I'm able to just kick back and do some good old-fashioned detective work. Now the scene of the crime is also in this building, so I just need to make my way up these stairs and... Okay, so that exists. Just like that, the game throws me into a life or death battle with a demon. Remember though, I don't find this game difficult, and these demons here are no exception. I might not say the same for the final encounters, but even then, it all boils down to jumping from random vape cloud to vape cloud, staying out of their sight, and sneaking up behind for a one-hit KO. Honestly, not a whole lot to it, but that doesn't mean I like them. They're still creepy. The story is what's really important though, so I go check on the room that I got thrown from 20 minutes ago. After a masterful inspection, I come to the conclusion that the killer was only here to find someone. But Ronan thinks it might be this girl who is hiding in the room when it all happened. So it's off to the church I go, where all the evidence points she'll be. However, after I get there, I'm confronted with what I can only assume are haunted black piles of demon shit. As far as I'm concerned, there's absolutely no need to get close to that. For the curious though, the gelatinous pile transforms into a portal to some hellscape that physically drags you down into it, probably forever. So avoiding those, then it's just a simple matter of cat possession in order to make it into the attic. Then I find the witness. Her name is Joy, but Ronan sometimes calls her Kid. Turns out Joy is a medium, meaning she can communicate with ghosts. And in this instance, it seems like she possesses some other powers too. After talking to Joy, I discovered that the killer was more than likely after her mother, who is also a medium, except she actually helps the police with murder investigations. She also possessed a journal with all of her case notes and left a letter for Joy telling her to find it and go into hiding. She thinks the killer is onto her, which is obviously true, and she doesn't want Joy to get killed. Now Joy, being a teenager, is in full angst mode. She's always quick with a tight jab at Ronan's character, so earning her trust takes a while. But after learning from Ronan that her mother's casebook would most likely be at the police station, she storms off with a fury.
Really? Leave me alone!
See what I meant by extra powers? Anyway, while on a nice stroll through Salem, I run into some other ghosts who apparently need help. Assisting them in finding out the truth to their deaths releases them. They are fun distractions that rarely disappoint, especially for the amount of effort needed to solve them, so I still make good time to the police station. Once inside, I have a look around, and what do I see? Well, first off, it looks like the cops are huge fans of Just Cause 2 and Deus Ex Human Revolution. It's pretty funny, really. That stuff's all over the station. But my eye happened to catch something odd with the trophy case in the hall. Seems pretty normal until you start looking at the faces and notice they're all the same. What the hell? Is that a dog with... oh my god. Moving on, I stroll into the Bell Killer's war room to dig up some more clues, but the cops have absolutely nothing. Wow, either this killer is astoundingly good, or the cops in this town couldn't find a donut shop even if it was just a block away from the station. Oh wait, I stand corrected. Anyway, I do manage to find something of use. Turns out the cops managed to nab Joy and are attempting to harass and intimidate her in the hopes that she'll spill something useful. Instead, I decide to help her escape and find the book. So I ask her who her mother worked with in the department, and what do you know? It was Baxter. You remember him. The book is probably in his office, so that's where we need to go. It's much easier than you'd think. I just make stuff go haywire with my poltergeist powers, and that's enough to let Joy sneak past trained police officers. They're all too busy playing Deus Ex. Anyway, once we make it to the office, it takes a bit of detective work to find this book hidden behind the gun rack. That's a bit too secret a hiding spot, even for a detective. What a bold risk hiding that there. I'm surprised no one discovered it yet. I mean, all the detectives work on that floor, come on. So once Joy and I quietly make our way back to the ground floor, she takes off outside. I give swift chase, and after catching up, Ronan is able to convince her to work together with him in order to help each other find who they're each looking for. With this new contentious friendship blossoming, Joy flips through her mother's notes and finds that she thinks something important is hidden at the Ashland Hills Cemetery. Trusting the mother's information, they decide to meet up there together and see what's going on. Turns out there are ghosts at a cemetery. Who would have guessed? Well, I meet up with Joy, who has no idea why we're here, so it's all up to me. Again. This time what I find out is that this little ghost girl who just randomly started following me around the cemetery might have been one of the killer's victims. Time to track her down.
Boo. Great.
So I'm going through the cemetery riddled with demons and creepy ghost serial killers. Just kidding. There's only one of those.
Simple. I'm gonna ask her how her son tasted. Funny thing about pigs, you'd be surprised at how much their diet can affect their flavor.
Yeah, so after that, I make my way up to the top of a mountain where this dilapidated manor sits greeting me, complete with an ominous quarantine sign right over the door. I guess this place used to be run by Dr. Voodoo here, mainly because he seems quite smug and open about his evil doings.
Ah, yes. That was just a sacrifice in the name of science.
And that's a big red flag for me. Yeah, everyone's not looking so good in here. Well, they're all dead, so anyway, look who I found.
Why can every friggin' ghost teleport but me? I'm gonna have to figure this shit out.
Yeah, we do. Good, now we can teleport around. It must be like the ghost equivalent to getting your driver's license. Thanks to this fun ability, I can access new places, which opens up further possibilities for puzzle solving and exploration. So, since I have a chance to explore, I'll stray from the story to mention the hidden secrets on the map. Sure, you can pick up notes and read about the game's history, but each level, or I guess each part of the main story, has these hidden, revealable items that unlock a creepy ghost story when you find and complete a set. Most, if not all, of these are great. The voice acting is well done, and the stories range from realistic to slightly fantastical.
And there was Joe, walking up to help. However, instead of grabbing hold of the tree, Joe bent down, picked up a rock, and crushed the conductor's skull with it.
She noticed that her scalpels and other tools had gone missing. She went to get more from the cabinet, but stopped cold at what she saw in the reflection. A ghostly silhouette of a Civil War soldier was standing over one of the corpses.
I watched as they walled up his tiny prison, trying to pretend that it never happened. I honestly hope he's in a better place. Although the staff still claims to hear his agonizing wails coming from inside the walls.
I definitely had to mention those, and if any of you plan on playing the game, I highly recommend checking them out. They're not all that difficult to find. Now this is also the point where I say to those of you who are wanting to play the game, or any of you who don't want to know the ending, that we are approaching spoiler territory. So there's your warning. Up until now, our investigation led to further questions, and while that's not going to change much, now at least we're going to start getting a few real answers. I will forge ahead because I like this game a lot and really want to talk about it. So for those of you with me, let's keep going. Alright, once I catch up to the little ghost girl, things get weird. She seems scared of me, but still shows me how she died. Turns out it was that crazy old Bell killer after all. Honestly, things get a bit graphic, you know, what with the whole child murder thing. So I'll just say it doesn't end well. Ronan hears about a contract and witnesses a symbol being drawn on the victim's arm, which is what he finds significant about the whole ordeal. So I get back to Joy to say her mother was right about this place and what I learned. Upon hearing about the contract, Joy finds a note in the book about a Bell killer survivor who's locked up in a mental hospital. The note also said that she was heard rambling incoherently about persecution and, wait for it, a contract. So there's our lead. Time to go see if we can meet this girl. The short answer is no. Apparently the girl we're looking for, Iris, is locked up in a maximum security ward and visiting hours are over. Thankfully, the teamwork between Joy and I has only increased since the police station, so this should be no problem at all. And right I was. All that I had to do was sneak around, go into a creepy, closed-off portion of the hospital, possess a cat, fight some loud demons, sneak around some more, and then both Joy and I make it to Iris's room.
She's already a lost cause.
Well, she doesn't look great, and she's mumbling to herself in a corner, but alright, we'll see what we can do.
I'm not gonna hurt her. Stay back!
Oh, jeez.
Holy shit, she can see me.
She's off her rocker, this one. Alright, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get much more from the girl herself.
She still knows. She still knows.
However, Ronan can gain memories somehow from working out her fantastic scribble pictures. And it's another gruesome murder. I find out, though, that it was twin sisters who got captured, and the Bell killer only got to kill one. That's messed up. Alright, I get it. Her dead sister Rose totally possessed her. I guess to try and keep her safe? Well, seeing as she ended up in a nut house, I can't say she did a good job. However, once Rose understands that we're all on the same side, she lets us help.
It's up to you.
So, when we all sneak out of the mental hospital, I get to asking some questions.
So he just asked you if you knew about a contract?
So basically, Ronan remembers something familiar that he saw on a flyer for the Salem Museum, and decides to head there alone to investigate. He instructs Joy to take Iris and Rose back to the church with her, until he can uncover some more information.
Come on, Iris.
Fitting for an investigation about a serial killer. All these murders have whipped this town into a frenzy. Now it all leads here to a gala celebrating a time when Salem found itself swept up in another whirlwind of hysteria.
Okay, now that we're in here, I can obviously see why this is so important. All the murder scenarios used in the different killings are present and on display. After checking everything out, I overhear that more items are being prepared upstairs to be used for future displays. I just have to teleport my way around a ghost train to get there. Easy. So once I do get past, I randomly run into Joy, who apparently decided to ditch Iris and Rose.
I told you to look after Iris.
You're not the boss of me.
Okay, fair enough. We make our way into the restoration room. There's a ton of random old crap in here. Some of it's interesting. I like the big anchor. However, we're really only interested in items pertaining to the Bell Killer. Turns out there's a few, like a group of police clippings that prove most of the past murders were done to mediums. Also, a creepy picture that Baxter hid quickly behind some shelves. Putting the pieces together, Ronan not only figures out the killer is targeting mediums because he thinks they're witches, but also that Baxter is still active on the case, even though he dropped it when he was demoted. So now we have a motive and a prime suspect. But Joy argues that we're still not any closer to finding her mom, which is true, but Ronan still has faith that she's fine and promises to help find her. Then he tells Joy to return to the church while he goes to check Baxter's apartment in order to see what he's been up to. Sounds like a plan, but things don't end up working out that way.
Why the hurry, boys? Where you headed? Oh, no.
Yep, looks like I have to make a detour back to the church. Here we are. And wow, looks like the whole department showed up for this one. Classic Joy, sneaking in when no one's looking and thinking she won't get caught. What's the first thing that happens when I get in there? Oh yeah, she gets caught. Word is, no one's seen Baxter. So, good thing I didn't waste my time trying to go looking for him, I guess. I make it out to the inner courtyard and whoa! Things are not looking good for Iris. What the hell happened? Looking on further, I come across the room she apparently jumped out of, which is full of chaos and bodies. This whole thing turns out to be a case involving some pretty awful timing. See, the evidence shows Iris was running from the killer already when she stumbled onto that party. All those people were just in the way. So the next question is, where was she running from? The answer is Joy's room in the attic. But once I get there, it's not pretty. Yep, the father's dead. At least he died trying to protect an innocent girl, I guess.
This is a friggin' dead end.
So where's Baxter?
Well, thanks to this cat, we have our answer. Looks like the killer, who we believe to be Baxter, dropped the key to a house Ronan remembers from a painting in the museum. So assuming this Judgment House is the killer's hideout, I make my way down there. But first, I have to break the news to Joy. It doesn't go very well. But I convince her it's safer to go down to the station with Rex. Like Ronan said, if Iris had stayed in the hospital, she'd still be alive. So with everything sorted out, I go check out this creepy old place. And good thing I did too. Baxter's car is here, and a light's on in the window. Well, this place sure is odd enough to be the killer's hideout. And it doesn't take too long to find his war room. Time to investigate. Unfortunately, there's not much here. Aside from mountains of books, all I see is a couple of old newspapers and a map of the killings. The only useful piece of evidence would be this lovely poem, written in what I can only assume is blood, although it turns out to be paint. It calls out Joy as the next target, which is why the killer was at the church. This room is pretty lame, so I think I might find more down in the wine cellar and holding cells. Whoa!
Oh my God, Baxter?
Whoa!
Ronan? You gotta help me.
Ugh.
What is this place?
Gross.
We gotta get out of here.
We gotta get
So
out
I'll
of
spare
here.
you as much of the eye as I can. Questioning my new spectral companion tells me that Baxter was still working closely with Joy's mom. They also discovered the killer is hunting mediums. So Baxter never dropped the case and claims he was just here checking on a lead. That's also why he's been looking for Joy, because her mom was worried and kept asking him to find her. Lastly, Baxter heard the killer say something about my instrument of death, whatever that is. So I send Baxter away, mostly because of the eye, but also so he can go fetch Joy's mom and bring her back to the station. but I still have some more to investigate. However, before I do, I want to give one last courtesy warning to anybody who doesn't want to know the ending, because we're here, and it's time to put the pieces together. Going a bit further back in the cellar, I find the holding cells, which contain crucial information.
What the hell happened down here?
It's just a bunch of flashbacks, but hang on a minute. I know that girl. The one at the beginning of the game. Name's Abigail?
How is this just?
The courts are not a place for your murderous whimsy. You are a corrupt heathen. The families of those innocent souls you executed through false accusation of witchcraft will exact their righteous justice tonight.
False accusation? My mark will burn like a brand in the flesh of this town. If it takes me to the ends of eternity, I will personally make the bell toll for every witch in Salem.
Whoa, that's a bit of a twist. Crazy old witch-hating girl using obvious witchcraft somehow to wrongfully kill innocent people? Didn't see that coming. We still don't quite know how she plays into the killings themselves, though. On the way out, the walkie on Baxter's dead body reports that Rex is currently missing, which is not good. He had Joy, so I put the pieces together.
It could be going down right now.
Time to find out what's been going on here.
Joy!
Ronan, help!
Not another step.
Rex?
This has nothing to do with her, Abigail. Oh, but it does.
Well, it seems like Abigail can completely control someone, which again, sounds a little bit like witchcraft.
Don't you dare compare me to her! Put your hands up! Abigail, stop!
Okay, when you possess a guy to make him kill his partner, then himself, I can't help but call that witchcraft. Turns out Abigail is also responsible for those black demon ship portals. Yeah, I cut out most of those, and the demons in the game, but trust me, they are quite annoying.
Want you getting closer to the truth.
Alright, well, I have it, so it's time to finish this game. If you're hoping for an intense, high-octane final boss fight, sorry, I got 20 seconds. That's right, 20 seconds to make my way to Joy and remind her to use that special scream she's got. That kicks Abigail right out. Now I only have 7 seconds to run up and grab her arm. I have her tell me everything.
Did you use Rex to kill me?
Rex was my most influential. Of course I did.
How could Rex have done it? Rose's killer had blue eyes.
I didn't use the same killer for every murder.
Why did you kill Baxter?
I eventually kill all the killers I use. Especially the ones who get close to the truth.
I wasn't close to the truth in the apartment. I wasn't one of your killers. Why did I have to die? No, I wouldn't. How could I? You made me kill her.
Desperate move, Abigail. Good thing Ronan's a better ghost than you.
You're coming with me.
Alright, finally that little she-devil is gone forever. That is, until the next ghostly serial killer shows up. I mean, you know there's gotta be more of those. Anyway, Joy is now alive and free. Plus, finally reunited with her mother. Rex hopefully won't get charged for the murder of those 2 cops, because he technically didn't do it. Ronan gets to move on into the light and live happily ever after.
Ronan?
So not bad, huh? I sure didn't see all that coming. The simple concept of being a ghost and going through walls never got old to me. Plus, the story was well done. The gameplay was more good than bad, and I really had a great experience. All in all, I'd say this game has earned the Stronghold Gaming seal of approval, which is virtually worthless. But I have the power to hand it out, so there it is. Hopefully, all of you had as much fun as I did. Stay tuned because more is on the way. But until then, I'll see you next time.